Hello, I'm Rachel Jones of the Finance News Network. Joining me today from Oventus Medical is MD and CEO, Dr. Chris Hart. Chris, welcome back to the network.
Hi, Rachel. Yeah, thanks for having me again. Pleasure.
Now, Chris, Oventus is rolling out its devices for the treatment of obstructive sleep apnea across North America via the Lab Model. Can you tell us how this is progressing?
Sure. Look, it's progressing really well. In line with recent announcements, we have 29 sites contracted now across the US and Canada. They've each got minimum device orders of 20 devices per site per month. 5 of those sites were launched late in the last quarter. And we have another 8 sites that are going through implementation at the moment. So some of those sites have started scheduling and others are undergoing their training and we're installing equipment. As well as that, we have a very strong funnel of potential deals coming down the deal pipeline. It doubled in the 4 months since we launched it in July, and it's actually increased significantly again in the last few weeks since our last market update. So still have enormous interest in both the technology and also in the lab program, with multiple contracts being negotiated and launches underway. So we're in a very strong position, very excited about what we're going to achieve at the end of 2019, going well into 2020.
And for those who may not be familiar with the Lab model, can you give us some background on what it is?
Sure. Well, traditionally, oral appliances have been prescribed by a dentist in a dental clinic or been fitted by a dentist after being prescribed by a sleep physician in the sleep clinic. So we have a siloing of professions and locations. We found that approach leads to a very complex patient journey and the patient potentially falling outside of care as they move from one stage to another in the process. With the Lab model, we're simplifying the patient treatment journey by providing a collaborative approach to care for both dentists and sleep physicians, as both these groups are needed for the effective treatment of sleep apnea. Under the model we employ a unique treatment platform and digital workflow to act as a conduit between both sleep physicians and dentists. The patient can be scanned in a sleep facility by a dentist for one of their devices without having to leave the facility. And what that effectively does, it allows the dentist and the sleep physician to provide end-to-end treatment solutions to the patient in a commercially attractive framework. And for patients, it means they have a seamless treatment journey, irrespective of where they started their treatment journey from.
And Chris, how is the progress with Lab affecting your revenues?
So it's early days. We have our first 5 sites operational this quarter with more coming online at the moment. And as a result of that, we are seeing an increase in revenue. And also as a result of the launch of the Oventus Optima, our flagship device in the US, it was FDA cleared in September. And we have just started selling that now into the US market. That was also the trigger for us to start launching the Lab program in the US. And as we said in previous communications, we're expecting a modest increase in revenues this quarter. But as we move forward into 2020, we'd expect to see those revenues grow. Also, out of the capital that we raised recently in our July capital raising, we're starting to invest that into the implementation process so that we can speed up the implementation and reduce the lead times to revenue.
And you've also just announced some board changes. Can you give me some details on that?
Yeah, so one of our co-founders, Neil Anderson, is retiring from the board. Neil made an enormous contribution to the company and we're grateful for that. To replace Neil, we've recruited Paul Malloy. So Paul is a phenomenal new board member. He's a non-executive director he's coming on as. He brings considerable medical device industry experience to Oventus with over 25 years experience in public, private and venture capital funded healthcare companies, including other board roles. He's currently president and CEO of Clearflow Inc., a US-based medical device company, which is revolutionizing the surgery recovery process with technology that prevents post-operative complications. Paul also serves on the board at Augustin Medical, which is a privately held market leader in medical arena temperature management, and Inscope Inc., a VC-funded critical care firm. He's also exited a number of leading US medical device firms, including publicly traded blood pressure measurement firm CAS Medical Inc. and Revolutionary Medical Devices, which develops products, again, for airway management. So some nice synergies there. His experience and contacts within the industry, I think, will be hugely beneficial for Oventus.
And finally, Chris, what can investors expect from Oventus in 2020? What are the key milestones they can look forward to?
We've got a great cash balance with a strong balance sheet after our recent capital raising. We've got our key regulatory clearances in place for the Oventus Optima. We're in a strong position to scale sales substantially across our key markets of Australia, Canada, and the US. And as I said before, we expect to secure further agreements across these markets with a view to significantly scaling through the end of calendar 2020. We are looking to also launch our XVent positive end-expiratory pressure valve into the US market next year. It's an accessory that fits into the open airway of the OVN Optima device to augment traditional oral appliance therapy by further stabilising the airway. We have multiple agreements we're negotiating and multiple sites we're launching our technology across. Overall, it's a really exciting time at Oventus. We've got a number of key milestones ahead, and we'll continue to update the market with our progress in terms of commercial execution as we move forward with the lab-in-lab model.
Dr. Chris Hart, thanks for the update.
Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate it.